We're doing video number 2, and we're going to cover some anxious thinking today. Like the thoughts and how it comes about or whatever. So, in our everyday life, we understand and appreciate the difference between our thoughts and our actions. We can imagine situations and actions with the clear understanding that they're merely thoughts and that there are no consequences of these thoughts in our real and everyday life, right? So, our thoughts can be looked at as a safe and convenient way to rehearse actions that we might never do in reality. So, anxiety changes all of that. So as we become more anxious, like the gap between our thoughts and our behaviors, they seem to shrink. So when we're highly anxious, thinking about something can feel close to doing it. So the what if catastrophic thoughts that run through our mind feel like they can actually happen. So as we approach these panic levels, our thoughts start to feel dangerous. Okay, so are you following me here? I have found that this is anxious thinking. Anxious thinking is an altered state of consciousness, and anxious thinking makes the scary thoughts feel like they'll really happen. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. So anxious thinking changes the rules. In normal thinking, we understand that nothing in life is risk-free and that we can accept reasonable risks, right? So we continue our activities with reasonable assurances of safety. Anxious thinking cannot accept any risks, and it's going to continuously ask for reassurances, okay? And it demands that we avoid situations that frighten us. Anxious thinking makes no distinction between feeling frightened and because of catastrophic images in our mind and the fear of being in actual danger. So basically, let me sum this up, okay? Anxiety tries to bluff us into believing that we are in danger and that we should avoid the source of anxiety. Anxious thinking makes our catastrophic thoughts feel like they can really happen, so when we feel like we are in danger, even though the source of our fears are merely the images in our mind made to feel real by the altered state of consciousness called anxious thinking. So one of your first jobs that you're going to have to do is to give the fear the label of anxiety. And your thinking is anxious thinking. Labeling anxiety means that you're telling yourself something like, this terror that I feel is my anxiety. I am not in danger. I do not have to avoid whatever is making me feel this way. There is no danger to confront. I just have to stay with the idea that my terror is my anxiety. My anxiety makes the scary thoughts going through my mind feel like they can really happen. I therefore can't trust my feelings when I'm dealing with this anxiety. So this is just an example of my anxiety trying to bluff me, okay? It isn't fair to expect yourself to remember this while you're feeling high levels of anxiety. So you need to write your own version of what you want to tell yourself and put them on a card that is easily accessible at this point in time. Okay, like during your anxiety attacks, you're going to pull out this little tiny card and it's going to tell you what you're going to say to kick your anxiety's ass. Okay? This is a lot to say, and it can be a very difficult job to do. The feelings of fear triggered by real danger is the same as the feelings of fear that accompany the high anxiety. So, the physiology is identical. So our feelings are therefore useless in helping us make the oh my gosh, I can't even talk this morning. The physiology is identical, all right? So our feelings are therefore useless in helping us make the distinction between danger and anxiety. I think I got that right now. Hope that makes sense. So we need to rely on facts not feelings. So first off, labeling your fear as anxiety and labeling your thinking as anxious thinking requires that you get to know the facts about anxiety. So what you need to remember when we speak of anxious thinking, when you get feelings of terror, you are going to label it as danger. Normally, you would do this, okay? But now you're going to label it as anxiety. So, when you get these feelings of terror, are you going to label it as danger, or are you going to label it as anxiety? The labeling is very important because when we're dealing with them, we all deal with them in a totally different manner. So, number 2, the decision is difficult because there's no way to use your feelings to help you make a decision, okay? Like, that is not even going to be able to happen when you're having anxious thinking, okay? So, the terror feelings associated with real danger is exactly the same as the terror you feel when you are experiencing anxiety. Feelings cannot help you make this decision. The anxiety makes the thoughts feel like they could really happen. We know this. We've covered this a million times. So you need to always try to label your anxious reactions as anxiety. Okay? And even if you can't fight what the anxious thoughts are telling you to do, and even if you're forced to flee and avoid these feelings, you can still label them as anxiety. Like, you can do it. Like, that's that's the first step. You have to begin to label these episodes as anxiety. You have to learn to differentiate what is going on at this time. So today we covered anxious thinking. I might be able to post a video later today, but we're going to try doing one every morning. And I really hope this explained a little bit more. I think yesterday's was a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, we'll talk tomorrow.